I'm Eric Woods. I'm the owner of the Firecracker Press and the founder of our nonprofit organization called Central Print. Firecracker Press is a letterpress printing studio. We do everything from the graphic design on the front end to the printing of products on the back end, so posters, business cards, books. We have a line of stationery and paper goods that we wholesale, and also a retail shop where we sell those paper goods. We do experimental projects with folks where we're trying to print on paper in various different ways. And so, I guess in a nutshell, we do any kind of printing on paper that's possible through the letterpress process.
You serve as somewhat of a community or an institution for the continuation of this craft?
Yeah, we're certainly interested in forming a community or building a community, taking what community might be already established and trying to build that. We started a thing called the Letterpress Trail a few years ago, which is kind of this sort of casual map where if you go to a city and you're interested in finding a letterpress shop there, you can kind of drive from city to city, finding those places that are welcoming to visitors and interested in talking about and educating people on those things. And so our hope is that we're connecting St. Louis with Memphis and Nashville and Kansas City, Minneapolis, Two Rivers, Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, Chicago, in this larger sort of regional context, so that people are kind of bouncing around from all those places. Des Moines, Iowa, I should mention as well. And so with that, then it kind of builds that community out from this central point, which we're considering St. Louis to be. If you look at a map logistically, we're right in the middle of all that. So STL Print Week is all about building that, and our mission at Central Print, the nonprofit, is about maintaining that day in and day out, 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year.
Tell me more about what makes your business special as a way to print things.
We've been answering that question a lot. Why do it? You know, in a modern time when things are faster, easier, cheaper, possibly, why continue these traditions? Keep using these old tools. First of all, they're built really well. They're made fantastically. They're beautiful machines from a functional standpoint and an engineering standpoint. Second, they deliver a high quality product, partly because they're built so well, but also adding the human element to that, that is an artist or an operator. The possibilities are really endless with those basic tools and the human element injected into that. It feels really good on the paper. It's unlike any other printing process or any other technical method of getting imagery on paper. So it's unique in that way. It's also something I think people remember and feel good about. They can recognize that there's a personal touch. They can recognize that a human being is involved. And as human beings, I think we're interested in making those physical and personal connections with paper. That can happen with digital stuff too. You know, you can certainly see a design and really love it, and love it for all of its intricacies on a piece of paper. But letterpress is special in that it delivers a lot of warmth and a lot of sort of organic human qualities that you can't get any other way.
All right.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that you have a significant collection of St. Louis typefaces. And did you want to say a word about what your interest is and that?
We do have a lot of faces here that were cast or designed and cast here in St. Louis. Something we weren't really very aware of until we started doing research on the origins of some of this stuff. And that's an ongoing process. We still have a lot of research to do. But knowing that they were made by folks just down the street from where we're standing now, 120, 30 years ago, is pretty special. Knowing, again, that they're made really well, so they still have use, and that we can use them in new ways today. is pretty special, knowing that folks used them before we did in other ways, and knowing that sort of lineage or origin is really special to us. So when you add that to the quality you're getting from the presses to any kind of design, you're automatically infusing that design with hundreds of years of history, and that always lends itself to better design, higher quality stuff, and a more personal touch when we're putting things together. As technology moves forward, there's a bajillion ways to do something. And we like to combine the newest with the oldest. We like to combine new technologies and ways of doing things that add efficiency or add communication capabilities across state lines and across international lines, with stuff that is from another era when there might have been barriers to communication, because of distance. We feel really fortunate to be in a time when you can really get on the phone or email somebody or text or social media outreach kind of thing, anytime, anywhere. We've got friends in Australia and the Philippines and Europe and Russia, all over the place, just because of those modern technologies that we would have never had 100 years ago. So we are interested in those kind of cross-pollinations of technology, but there's nothing like the tradition of letterpress. As I said earlier, there's nothing like the quality of letterpress. And from a personal standpoint, it gives me a direct connection to the past, but also the ability to control every aspect of the design and printing process. So we can take something from conceptualization through the design process all the way to the production process right here, which is the miracle of the invention of letterpress, the invention of movable type and the printing press. Combining those, putting those under one roof, and through imagination and hands-on working, we're able to make things on a mass scale and get them out to the public. When Gutenberg invented movable type and the printing press, we're talking about human revolution, we're talking about the Renaissance, we're talking about the invention of the middle class and the birth of the modern age. So we can connect that time to our time with basically four technological inventions. The printing press being first, printing press and movable type being the first, the invention of the linotype being second, the invention of cold type or phototype being third, and then digital means, desktop publishing, iPhones, iPads, tablets, Bluetooth, all the things that we take advantage of today. So that's pretty special.
One last question. When you finish the product, when it comes off the press and you're holding a piece of paper that you worked on, you put the ink on, you use type that's 100 years old or more,
Yeah.
what's the emotion you feel when you pull that off?
Well, it's pretty special. I mean, we had a talk this morning here at STL Print Week about making sure you understand where the tools and things that you've inherited in your shop come from. So you've got that origin or the direct tie to the person that used it before you, and hopefully the person that used it before them, if it's gone through several different sort of generations. And we feel like we're the stewards of what's, that next step. Somebody will come after us, hopefully, and do this when we're either too old or uninterested in doing it anymore. And so it's a real honor to know that we've got that sort of thread through history, or we're in that bloodstream, it feels pretty good.